This podcast is part of the Batman Universe Podcast Network, hosted by the BatmanUniverse.net. Check out everything related to Batman and the entire Bat family at the BatmanUniverse.net, including news and original content related to comics, movies, television, merchandise, video games, and more. Also, check out some of the other unique podcasts that TBU has to offer. Consider supporting this podcast by becoming a patron on Patreon. Even $1 can go a long way in supporting this content that you enjoy. Look for a link over at the BatmanUniverse.net to offer your support now. And now, on with the show.
Hello and welcome to the Batman Universe Comic Podcast, Season 14, Episode 8. I'm your host, Ian, and I have with me...
This is Steph.
And this is Theo.
And we're going to be covering a bunch of comics because we've got 2 chapters of Shadow War plus a new chapter of Detective Comics. So we just have a couple little news items, not super big, but we wanted to share them. First is that...
Before we kick off, folks, so just know we are recording off schedule this week, and all 3 of us are either sick or sleep deprived or both.
Or sleep deprived.
Hey, I think we're all 3 both of these things.
Yeah.
So if anything goes off kilter, as my grandmother would always say, charge it to our head, not to our hearts, and we love you.
We do. Okay, so our little bits of news are... DC announced that they're doing a George Perez 2-page art spread as a tribute to him in all of June's comics by a bunch of all-star artists. They released the digital image and it looks really great. It's also going to be a variant cover for one of the late Dark Crisis issues, which seems a little odd to me. I would think they'd want to do it earlier, and all proceeds from that cover will go to the Hero Initiative, which is a cause that George Perez helped to co-found. The piece looks really gorgeous. It's got, all of the famous properties that Perez worked on and really shaped so much, especially Titans and the Justice League and so many great things. And there's a picture of Perez himself surrounded by the heroes. And it's really nice. What do you guys think?
Yeah, I actually saw it today by accident. Yesterday. Sometime in the last 24 hours. I was on a Dan Mora kick. And I was like, Google image search Dan Mora, just because I feel like it. And that image popped up, and I was like, that's just a weird thing.
Yeah, none of those things are by Dan Mora.
Which is really weird. But I wonder if it just kind of popped up as a artist tribute or something. I don't know. But yeah, it looks really cool.
It is definitely a wonderful move by DC. As everyone who knows me know, George Perez is probably number 1 on my Mount Rushmore of artists, which is... We're considering Batman as my favorite character, so the likes of Gemma Parro and Neil Brayfogle are up there as well. But George Perez just has this place in my heart with the way he's developed himself as an artist, but just as a human being. I had an opportunity of meeting him once, and he just genuinely loves what he do. And, I can't... Every time I see a George Perez story, I start to worry if this is the one that we all know is coming but don't want to. But this is a nice touch by DC, and I'm happy they're doing something to honor him, because he's definitely deserving of it.
Absolutely. Other piece of news, DC Universe Infinite announced that they are producing more than just the winners comics in their round robin contest. They're going to produce a full comic that they didn't release all the details of Blue Beetle, one of the, I think, 3rd round runners up in the contest that Robin's won, which we'll talk about later because Robin's final issue dropped this week. And they're also going to be doing 6-page comics for 4 of the runners up this week and probably more. So that's actually something I've been pushing for on the forums for quite a while. I feel like only publishing one of the comics feels like a real waste of the entire concept of all these pitches. So that'll be pretty cool.
It makes it almost sounds like a participation award. So I'm not that crazy about the idea. The
But I
contest,
want them to get a participation award because I want to read the stories.
yeah.
But yeah, with all of that, we did solicits last week, even though they hadn't dropped yet. We included an extra piece for the ROM V announcement, and that was really all the Batman stuff. So nothing really to cover from solicits. So we're just going to get moving right on to our reviews, starting with Deathstroke Inc. number 8, Shadow War Part 3, written by Joshua Williamson, drawn by Paolo Pantalina, colored by Romulo Fajardo Jr. Angel Breaker interrogates Raptor to find Deathstroke, and Talia's Demon Shadow Special Forces brutally chase down all of Slade's associates. But Slade and Respawn are hiding in San Francisco in one of Slade's old Titan-fighting hideouts, planning to regroup and strike back. After Batman and Talia's passionate kiss last issue, Bruce pulls away, murmuring about Selina. Talia says she and her father were both inspired by Damian to become better, but they are interrupted when Angel Breaker reports in with Raptor. Batman breaks Raptor free when he discovers he's been missing: the Lazarus Tournament and Talia's Demon Shadow rampage of revenge. Talia orders Angel Breaker to follow Raptor to Slade. Slade and Respawn get a warning call from Raptor, but then Ravager and Damian Robin arrive for payback. So, this is Howard Porter is the main artist for Deathstroke Inc., but he's on Batman right now, and the fill-in art is by Paolo Pantalina. How do you feel about the art here?
Well, anything will be better than the last book we covered. I don't even remember which one that was. Was that Batman?
I think it was Batman, and that was
yeah,
Howard
that was
Porter.
awful. That was horrible. So this is great.
Really?
I like it better. The 14-year-olds look like 14-year-olds.
This might be stuff being sick.
Okay, it's better than the last one, dude. That's all I have to say. You may not be your stick. It's a little liney, but compared to the last one, this is a significant step up for me.
I really thought this was Howard Porter until I saw the credits again, and I was like,
I know, right?
This is not good. I don't know. I've just, I don't know. This, and like I said, I loved Howard Porter and what he did on The Flash, but for some reason, this art style is not sitting well with me in the Batman universe, and I'm really not a fan.
Yeah, to me, this really feels like someone who's really trying to look like Howard Porter, but isn't as skilled as Howard Porter. So it is clearer than Howard Porter's style, but the anatomy and the line work just isn't very appealing to me. I don't like how anyone looks. I don't think the panel work's particularly interesting, and the colors are kind of weirdly muted. Like, I normally really love Romulo Fajardo Jr.'s colors because they're very saturated and bright, but this feels like everything's kind of, I don't know, watercolor. It's odd. The art on this book, I personally like the Batman art slightly better. I didn't like the Batman art, but because of how much I hated the first couple issues of Deathstroke Inc., I thought it was better than that. This feels lesser in skill to me than the Batman issue.
Really?
Oh, yeah.
Wait, you like Batman better than?
Yeah, I did.
No.
But remember, we had this whole conversation. It's because I hated the first issues of Deathstroke Inc., and so it felt like a slight improvement.
It's the sleep deprivation laughing, guys. That's what it is.
Yeah, there's a lot of wacky brains going on today. Do you think Bruce and Talia's relationship is well handled in this issue?
I mean, it's almost like, I'm trying to think what it's like. It's stupid.
No, really?
I appreciate that he steps back and that, I don't know. It seems silly that they do the kiss and then they're like, she's like, oh, I don't even care about him. He's stupid. And he's like, oh, I have a girlfriend. I don't know. It's almost like they realized they made a mistake and they had to fix it somehow real quick.
So first of all, Ian, you're asking two Batcat shippers what they think about.
Hey, I'm a Batcat shipper too.
Oh, okay. Well, act like it, dang it. It's stupid. But
Okay. I am looking forward to our Lovely City conversation because I'm very confused.
stupid. But I don't know. So if I can remember, this is what the second time and a half since the proposal that Bruce has locked lips with someone other than Selena. So it was Jessica Cruz in Justice League. Now it's Talia here, and he almost locked lips with Wonder Woman in the other world. So I don't know why they keep trying to do this to us and then pull it back. I mean, it's just, I don't know. It's just,
Because drama.
it doesn't make sense. I mean, I don't know what the sense of it all is.
Well, Batman's always been kind of a playboyish, right? Ish.
I've
Sort of.
always thought that was a front.
Yeah, me too. I always thought that
Yeah,
was.
no, that's not the word I meant to say. But like, there has to be some kind of sex appeal, like sex sells, right? So somehow with Batman, there's always, not always, but there's frequently some kind of either attraction, flirtation, or attraction.
Well, the other thing is that, like Nightwing, Batman's been around for 85 years, which means that there's a ridiculous number of stories, and because a romantic story is a popular one, there's going to be a ridiculous number of romantic stories in 85 years of monthly publication, multiple titles. So even though I think that Bruce Wayne generally is, a faithful lover, 85 years of publishing history means he's got a ridiculous number of romantic partners. Same thing with Nightwing.
Jezebel.
I think that I liked the way they kissed last issue because I felt that the way that Williamson built the emotions was believable, and I like the fact that he broke it off and remembered Selena, and I thought that was, I don't know, that to me was a nicely written little bit of interaction. I did not like the fact that Talia says, Damian inspired Roz and me to become better, and then she's just like, and I'm just going to order the murders of a bunch of people and their families to find Deathstroke. Because, that's not better at all. That's just standard operating Al Ghul procedure, and that felt really sloppy to me. Like, right after Talia says, Damian inspired me to be better, she's just, acting like just the same. So, there's some good in this issue, but also some really weird and weak stuff for me in the Bruce and Talia relationship.
Back up if I can. Okay, so I get on the soapbox a little bit. But, okay, so Bruce remembers Selena again. If we're going to keep Bruce going back to Selena, then why the hell won't they just let them be together? Each time.
This is a question for the editors. I'm in favor of them being together.
And it is. I'm sure they're listening, right? Ben, yes. But I just don't get it. I mean, they drag Bruce to this line. They drag Bruce to this line again and again and again. They drag Selena to this line. They drag Selena to this line. And if you notice, Bruce is the one that usually goes over the line more than Selena. And yet, they find themselves, why can't, I just don't get it. Okay. Also.
But I can see for Talia, maybe going along with her dad's idea, and she's trying to make herself look good by saying, I was inspired too. But then it's like, if you're only half-heartedly doing something in the first place, it's not going to take much to take you away from that.
Well, see, and I actually would believe Talia being more inspired than Roz. Again, I said in the last episode, I really think that there was an underlying plan with Roz, but I truly think that Damian has had some type of inspiration on her. At least I want to believe that, considering...
I mean, it really depends on who's writing her. That's kind of the thing.
Considering the recent issues where, in conversations between her and Damian, she's gone from, I want you to be a weapon before the start of the Robin series. And now it's, no, I want you to be my son. And I truly hope that is the case. Now, again, that could be some hellified writing if we get another swerve, which is always possible. But if I had to choose between the two, I would pick Talia being more believable than Roz at this point.
But Guru Raz, he's enlightened.
He's dead.
Yeah, Guru Roz is dead.
No.
He'll be back, but it'll take
He'll
a
be
while, I
back.
think.
And he'll probably have the hairdo when he comes back.
As long as he brings Alfred with him. They both come walking out the pit together.
2-for-1 deal.
So, what is Angel Breaker's deal other than not wearing shirts?
Sex appeal
Is that it?
to someone.
Like, she really just seems like she's there to throw out no shirts and kill people.
He's the new face of
I think it's a different body part than the face.
and there's still this notion in comic books that sex appeal sells. And
I mean, they're not wrong.
They're not wrong.
And the thing is, it's not just selling to male readers. Like, J. Scott Campbell is one of the most famous comic book cover artists in the business, and he's got tons of female fans, and I think that's great. I mean, people like sexy art, no matter if you're male or female. I'm just, like, kind of puzzled about this Angel Breaker. Just, like, she's all over the place, literally.
She is that's either see-through, like plastic material, or she has literally
she's wearing a shirt.
Glued that fabric to her front. Like, there's no way that's staying on there.
Spirit gum, man.
Say this just because Ian brought it up. This is unpopular opinion. J. Scott Campbell is highly overrated.
I am not personally a fan of J. Scott Campbell. I'm just saying he has
you can
many
come
fans.
and with me then. Yeah, he has many fans, and they probably come after us now.
Oh, geez.
Hold on,
I'm not saying I think he's bad. I'm just not a fan personally.
Yeah, I just think he's very overrated. Okay, we're in agreement.
Okay.
So you're Steph.
He's fine.
All
He's
right.
He's better than Guillaume March.
Oh man, I love Guillaume March.
But you said you said he approved after Sirens when he was on Batman.
Yeah, I'm just saying that he's more. From the pictures I'm looking at here, he's more raunchy than.
William was definitely.
Yes, that's true.
More.
I mean, is he a Spanish or a French artist?
Mm-hmm.
I always thought he was French, but I think he's actually Spanish. But there's European art tends to be more
European
openly
in general.
sexual. So
we have more nude beaches than y'all.
Exactly. All right, so I want to do ratings for Deathstroke Inc. number 8 out of 5 Bruce Talia smoochies.
Oh my gosh. 0. No.
Nope, there's at least one.
You cannot outdo Scott from last episode.
That's true. Let's see. I think. Oh, I just gave it a thumbs up. I didn't actually rate it. I say 3. I enjoyed it. It was solid.
Yeah, I will do 3.25. It wasn't quite 3.5, but I think it was a little bit better than the 3. I think if the art was better, it would probably be a 3.5. But the art just.
I'm giving it a 3. The art for me really wasn't a draw, and I thought there was good stuff, but also some uneven stuff. Overall, I am enjoying it. I want to save a discussion for Williamson overall for the second issue we're covering, but overall, it's better than average, enjoyable read that gives us an average rating of 3.08 and a mode of 3.
God, this mode, even us being sick.
Blame Steph. She gave me the calculator.
Well, I think you wanted the mode in there.
I did.
You created the calculator for?
I did.
You're an enabler.
I am.
That's because Steph loves me.
I love data is what I love.
Or she loves spreadsheets, apparently.
I love spreadsheets. I am the spreadsheet queen. If y'all need a spreadsheet done, call me.
Hit her up.
All right, let's move on to Robin number 13.
Robin number 13 by Joshua Williamson, art by Roger Cruz, colors by Luis Guerrero. As Robin and Ravager face off against Deathstroke and Respawn, Slade triggers his hideout self-destruct, and the battle continues on the rooftops. Respawn breaks up the fight by claiming Slade is innocent, and reveals his identity as Talia and Slade's son created by Roz. Damien is happy to find another brother, but Respawn tries to kill him again, until Batman arrives. Deathstroke receives a call from his associate, Dr. Moon, who has been captured by Angelbreaker. Angelbreaker slaughters Moon in front of Slade, infuriating Batman. Slade throws a grenade on the streets next to civilians, and Bruce and Damian save them, letting the three Wilsons escape. Bruce appeals to Damian to work together. Meanwhile, Prometheus is rescued by Ghostmaker and Cloud Hunter and Batman Inc. Who is Prometheus again?
He's a villain who's got like this thing in his helmet that allows him to like know the fighting styles of a bunch of like martial artists. So he's like kind of like he's like Neo from the Matrix. He like downloads kung fu from different fighters. He's really annoying. I don't like him at all.
He's a Deathstroke member, right?
Yeah, he is a Deathstroke member. That's why they're chasing him.
Was he fighting the Mime and what's her butt?
Marinette?
Midnight? Yeah, Marinette and Mime from Death Clock.
I don't think so. That'd be
like they were in
weird that
something
they'd be working for Talia.
Oh, okay. They're probably just okay.
This issue has a lot of recap from previous series. Do you think that the recap is reasonably well done, or does it take up too much space in the issue?
I think it's fine. I mean, I've been kind of confused and upset by what's been going on, so the recap actually kind of, I don't know. I didn't mind it. It didn't bother me. I almost died when Robin was so excited he had a brother. I was just like, oh, my precious boy has happy feelings. I'm so happy. Oh, and then it's ruined.
And then he was about to join you.
No. I think I enjoyed this one more than any of the other in the series so far.
I was okay with it. It was a good balance. What I hope we do not get as we continue on in Shadow War is a Uberic type of memory lane where every issue is a recap where we're just being told stuff we just read either in the same week, in a different chapter, or just a week before. So, but this one was a good balance. I remember last episode being a little confused, trying to get everything in order, even though it says right there, chapter 1, chapter 2. I was okay with it. I just don't want to see too much of it to where it's giving me Uberic vibes.
I thought there was too much exposition. I thought that there was too much time spent saying, and this happened in previous series, and this happened in previous series. And I understand that it's supposed to be a crossover, so like someone who's just reading Robin, this is trying to catch them up with what happened in Deathstroke. And someone who's just reading Deathstroke, well, this is what happened in Robin. And someone who's just reading Batman, this is what happened in both Deathstroke and Robin. Like, I understand the purpose. I just didn't think it was particularly well done. It felt like the plot stopped several times just to like explain what happened. And it doesn't help that it's basically just one action sequence broken up into 2 locations and then like 2 phone calls. Structurally, the issue didn't do a ton for me. And the exposition's one of the reasons why.
See, I'm going to have to disagree. I mean, the exposition about what's happened before, whatever. But so many stories, and I'll tell you right now, my least favorite trope, and it's one of the most common, is, and this is actually, the Talia part is one of them, is things happening because of miscommunication or misunderstandings or secrets. It's like, I hate that. It's like, how hard is it to just communicate? Like, can't we tell a good story about people who talk to each other? And so the fact that, like, what I wanted was for Deathstroke, Batman, Damian, and Respawn to all just have a nice chat together. And so I got that. So I was actually very excited because at least everyone is, at least if they're not on the same page, they know what page the other people are on.
That's very fair. Are you excited by the final page reveal that Batman Inc., Ghostmaker, and Clown Hunter are going to become a part of this plotline?
Yes. I'm excited that Bow's back. I'm excited that Ghostmaker's back. Because I did like him. Especially when he's not being a raunchy sleaze. He's fine.
You didn't like Murder, Death, Kill, Clown?
What?
Are you talking about Clown Hunter or Ghostmaker?
No, Ghostmaker. Oh, did I say Clown Hunter? I meant Ghostmaker. No, I'm excited. I don't know too much about Batman Inc. Hopefully they're better than what they were in the last arc. But other than that, Fear. I'm excited.
I am not excited simply because of how they were handled in the last arc. So Joshua Williamson has a lot of trust gaining to get me excited about them again. I was excited when they were announced to be in that first arc of Batman, and that went. And so until I see more, read more, I'm going to maintain that aspect until then.
Yeah, I'm pretty much in the same boat as Theo. I was very excited when Batman Inc. was announced to come back, and then, I mean, you could have replaced them with any other Batman allies. They have no personality in that first arc, and so I'm worried that they're just going to be bodies in the pages. I do like the fact that Clown Hunter and Ghostmaker are being used. It makes it feel like people aren't immediately trying to memory hole the James Tynion run of Batman, which I still think was a perfectly fine run of Batman. Very enjoyable.
Which is interesting because when JT's run was ending, remember we had that conversation about
which one's going to last. And
right, and we all thought it was going to be Molly.
I mean, she is technically back in the Urban Legends story, but it sucks butt.
Yeah, there's no way that thing survives once that 3-parter is done. If it does, I'm jumping out of a window. I mean, I live on the first floor, so it won't hurt.
So you'll be okay. How do the interactions between all the characters strike you in this issue? And I guess this question I want to broaden a bit more to how do you think Joshua Williamson's handling this crossover event?
Well, those are two different questions because I think so far I've liked Robin the most because everyone gets together, they all talk, even if they don't agree with each other. Like, it's not just fists flying, there's actual communication and talking about things that I was confused about. So that was helpful, and I liked that. Also, I love Robin. But, like, last episode, the first 2 issues, I was not a fan. I was hating it. I hated a lot of things. Mostly the art and people's
we all
motivations.
Liked Victor Bogdanovich, but we did not like the Howard Porter art very much.
Yeah, the art and the motivations of people was really upsetting to me. And so this is better. So I'm worried because it just seems really inconsistent.
I mean, we can extend our conversation about Joshua Williamson beyond Batman and Shadow War because later we'll be talking about the death of the Justice League and how that was handled. And I've been saying it from day one. I'm a big fan of Joshua Williamson, but I mean, he's just doing too much, and it is clear this volume of work that he's doing is affecting the quality of it. I have every issue of his on the Flash until he finished. I'm a huge fan of his, but I love Robin, but I have been quite unimpressed on every single other book that he's been writing, whether it's Justice League Incarnate, Infinite Crisis, what have you. And it's just, he just has too much right now. And I don't know if they're trying to make him a new Scott Snyder, but guess what? Scott Snyder had too much too, and it affected his work, and I'm not a huge fan of that.
Yeah, I completely agree. I think that Williamson is stretched in so many different directions right now. I really hope that he can kind of find a balance, find a focus. The reason I asked about the character interactions is because I liked a lot of the conversation that we have with Batman and Deathstroke and Ravager and Damian and Respawn. But there are things like Respawn reveals, my dad is innocent, I'm your brother, and then he just starts attacking Damian for some reason. It's just, that didn't make sense to me at all. And then the thing I mentioned before about Talia saying Damian inspired me to be better, and then I'm just going to kill a bunch of people for fun. So I think that the character interactions are a little inconsistent, and I do think that Williamson is doing too much. I do think that all of the issues of Shadow War so far have been significantly better than those first 4 issues of Batman. Those first 4 issues of Batman are completely forgettable, and I don't like them. Shadow War I have been enjoying reading, even with the problems I have. Like, it's fun. There's a ton of stuff that I enjoy seeing with the characters that I like, and they're not handled too badly, even with some like slightly weird things to sort of drive the plot or make action happen. But I don't know. I'm kind of a weird place where I'm like, I'm having a much better time than the last 4 months of the Batman title, but it's still not super great.
So you're going to exercise your this is not continuity on those first 4 issues of Batman?
No, I just think they don't matter.
You can always just strike them from continuity. I'm down with that.
Well, we'll have to see, because we're returning to the Abyss storyline in the last issue before Zdarsky starts. I'm so not excited.
No, me neither.
All right, so let us go for a rating of Robin number 13 out of 5 Damien-driven bat planes.
Oh yeah, I guess we should mention that the relationship is somewhat. They're at least talking together without yelling at each other, and they're working together.
I really like the Batman and Damien stuff in this one.
Yeah, that was good. So for that alone, 3.5. Oh, and the art is just wonderful.
Yeah, Roger Cruz is a pretty good. I don't think he's quite as good as Gleb, but he's good.
Agreed. It's a 3.5 for me as well. Robin, of all of Williamson's book, Robin continues to be the best of them. So
agreed.
That's the one I always look forward to, and it's a 3.5 for me.
Yeah, and I think it's so great that we have a Robin title again, and it's a good book. It's a good book to read. It's got good art. It's fun. For me, I'm doing a 3.25. It's still not quite high enough to bump me into higher ratings, but it's still quite good. That gives us an overall rating of 3.42 and a mode of 3.5.
And he still gets his mode.
Whether you are a first-time TBU Comics podcast listener, a 13-year veteran, or anything in between, we'd love to hear what you think about this episode or any of the comics we discussed. Send emails to tbu@thebatmanuniverse.net. Join our Discord server linked at thebatmanuniverse.net. Send us a tweet at TBU_comics. Or, if you're a patron, leave us a comment on our Patreon page. We'd also love it if you left us a review on iTunes. We'd love to read your comments on the next episode of the Batman Universe Comics Podcast. Batman may claim he works alone, but we know that he needs the Bat Family. Join the TBU Bat Family and let us know what you think.
Detective Comics number 1059, Story 1. The Seven, written by Nadia Sheamus and Mariko Tamaki, with art by Yvonne Reese. As Riddler broadcasts Riddler videos all over Gotham, Judge Caroline Donovan, Deb Donovan's daughter, finds a bomb in her chamber. Batman arrives and finds a second device, which he is unable to stop. Deb rushes to the hospital, but Caroline sends her away, to which Deb responds by vowing to investigate as she bumps into Bruce Wayne bringing Caroline flowers. Bruce and Caroline connect as he probes for information and thanks her for saving the lives with her early warning. And later, as Batman finds security footage implicating Sarah Pett, an online influencer, and when confronted, she confesses. Later, at a murder scene at the opera, Batman is present when the lethal gas attack hits. He tries to save all he can and chases a man calling himself John Harper, who then kills himself in front of Batman. Caroline gets a call from someone named Chase, and she says she did what they asked.
So, first question, does this seem like a standard Riddler story, or does it seem like there's a unique angle that you find interesting about it?
I don't know if I've read enough Riddler-only stories to truly say. It does seem like a normal Riddler story would have Riddler giving clues about what he's going to do and where he's going to go, but this just seems more like taunting. And he does seem to be reining in a bit more his need to have Batman solve the crime a little bit. Yeah, it seems like there's probably a little something extra going on. If it's Scarecrow, I might throw something, but yeah.
Yeah, I think there's a little something extra going on. I don't think it's Scarecrow simply because I don't want Steph to pitch something at me. But I think there's a little bit more going on. I was a little concerned considering we were getting a co-writer on this arc, and my worry was pointed in the wrong direction, seeing that this is her last arc, Mariko's last arc on the title. But yeah, I do think there's a little bit more. I mean, we're seeing the Riddler do his work through others. I just can't wait to see how he's doing it.
Yeah, I think that instead of Batman just having to follow Riddler's puzzles, he's doing a lot more proactive stuff, which I enjoy. And Riddler's got a weird disguise of like a fake mustache and beard and stuff. At least I think it's fake. Maybe it's real. But he hasn't had one. And he's been featured quite a lot in the last couple of years.
I mean, he's gained a lot of weight since Spiny Bone.
Question mark
Thank
Riddler's
God.
spine.
Thank God that's not coming back on Steph.
Oh man, it's great.
He gave up the drugs.
That's good. Do you sense a difference between Tamaki writing on her own and this issue with Shama's co-writing?
I don't think anything really struck out at me too much. No, it didn't seem too off.
Same here, and I'm not familiar with Shama's enough to know her writing style, so I did not notice much. You know, there was still Bruce doing detective stuff, which is always enjoyed by us here. You know, seeing Batman in disguise as Bruce Wayne. So that was neat. Although Steph might have a problem with him and Caroline connecting.
No, that's a question that we're going to ask a little later.
Mm-hmm.
I agree. I was surprised. It felt really of a piece with Tamaki's run, so that's good that Shamas is able to integrate so well without feeling like a completely different run or a completely different voice. Like, everyone still feels pretty solid to me. Do you think this story will be satisfyingly wrapped up in just two more issues?
I think so. It seems like it's not too big.
I don't. I think it's going to be rushed through, and that's just knowing Tamaki's style and how we've gotten all of her other stories in her previous arcs. I just think that it's going to be rushed to get this thing done and over with in 3 issues. I mean, you could have done it in 4 and made it a true arc, or even a truer arc by making it 6. And yes, this is just me complaining about Mariko Tamaki leaving. But I think pushing it to be done in 3 issues is going to make it have a lot of holes that's going to leave a lot of questions unanswered.
Yeah, again, I kind of agree with Theo here. It feels like even this first issue feels kind of rushed because we've got 3 major attacks, and it feels like the way they're connected is a little fuzzy. Like the way that we get the information in the attacks doesn't seem as clear as it could be, and there's just so much happening in just one issue. I love the stuff with Bruce being a detective and, being out, sort of a callback to the neighborhood arc. We know he's a friend of Deb Donovan. Like, that's the big civilian character that Tamaki created and has used a lot. And so that's really nice. I love that. And I really hope Deb Donovan doesn't go away. I want her to be a character who comes back every now and then. But it does feel like, well, we've got 3 issues and we had this idea for a story, but I feel like the story should have been ratcheted back a bit because it just feels a bit too big for the space they're going to have. Do you like Deb's family being filled out more with her daughter? This is the first time we know that Caroline exists. Do you like Caroline, and do you think that it's a good addition?
I think so. I think it brings it a little closer to home. I mean, obviously, you have to create a new character who we suddenly have to care about. But it is interesting seeing that Deb's ambition and desire to like report the truth kind of manifested in her daughter in the wanting to be a judge, which I thought was very cool to see a young female judge. But also that whatever this is, she's tied into it as well. And so that we can kind of assume that Deb's daughter, if not a good person, at least is a morally upright person. Just based on who her mother is and what her job is. Because you can have corrupt judges, obviously. Especially in Gotham. But, yeah, tying whatever's going on to her definitely makes it seem like this is something a little bigger than just either blackmail or whatever.
And not only that, it'll be interesting to see who this Chase person is. You know, because the only Chase we know of recently has been Chase Meridian. So, you know.
Well, there's also Director Chase from the DEO in Shadow War.
But I mean, huh? Well, that's right. She did show up in Shadow. But it's still going to be interesting to see who this Chase is that has her doing what she did. So obviously, this whole bomb thing, there's a little bit more to that story. As far as the filling out of the family, I don't have much of an opinion one way or the other. Yeah, it's nice that Deb has a daughter who seems to be at odds somewhat with mom. So, you know, that's a common trope that we seem to have in Gotham, where the kids don't seem to care what their parents do. But again, it's going to be interesting to see how much we learn with only 2 more issues to go.
Yeah, I agree. I really like seeing more civilian characters. I mean, one of the greatest things about Tamaki's run has been we've moved away from the pure superheroes. The only people who really matter in a lot of stories these days is just the people in costumes. And Deb Donovan and Mr. Worth and a bunch of other characters are all introduced, and of course the mayor and his wife are all civilian characters. They're not characters who are going to become costume heroes. They're heroes. They're characters that Batman's interaction with them matters way more because they're just trying to live their lives. They're not trying to be a costumed hero or a villain. And so I like seeing more of the structure of Gotham explored through Caroline. I just hope that they can do it in a nuanced and interesting way in just 3 issues. Do you like having a somewhat smaller story after the epic, at least in length, Parasite and Shadows of the Bat arcs?
Yeah. I like, because events and big long stories can be good, but especially since they're coming out, you know, every 2 weeks or whatever, every month, depending on if it's a crossover or whatever, it can get a little bogged down, especially if we're not enjoying it. So, I mean, not that we don't enjoy Tamaki, but a nice shorter story can be a nice breath of fresh air.
I don't know. A shorter story can work if it's done correctly. My concern, and I've already said it already, is that this is going to be rushed. There's a lot going on already that we're still trying to get a handle on, and I just don't know if 3 issues is going to be enough to handle all that we've been presented with. So while I do think a smaller story after something that's bigger, particularly Shadows, can be worthwhile, I'm concerned with how this one is going to be, considering we've had a lot thrown at us and we don't seem to have a lot of time to get to the finish line.
Yeah, I like the idea of smaller stories. I like when you have smaller storylines that have a beginning, middle, and end, and then they can have threads that tie into longer arcs, but I kind of prefer sort of an episode of the week plus myth arc structure that you'd saw in a lot of television in the early 2000s. And we've kind of lost that. Everything's like big arcs now.
Well, everybody's writing for graphic novel. I mean, trade paperbacks. So
Writing for the trade.
Yeah, which can.
I wonder
which
how
is,
they're going to collect this, because this is just going to be 3 issues. Like, I don't know what they're going to do.
yeah, they got it, and they got to collect it. I mean, because they're collecting Shadows without the backup, right?
Right. I mean, that's a big fat book right there.
Yeah. Unless they do some type of collection with all of Tamaki's run, I don't know. Or maybe they can do another compendium.
Yeah. All right. Let's move on to our backup.
Gotham Girl Interrupted, Part 1, written by Sina Grace with art by David Lapham. Gotham Girl confronts a shady businessman named Brian Kimura as his bodyguards pointlessly attack her. Since a mysterious website calling itself Gotham Girl pointed her to him. She leaps through the roof, then tries to figure things out in various lonely places around the city. After being released from Arkham Tower, the website popped up, and she didn't feel she can go to any of the bats. At Gotham High, where Claire is trying to connect with other people and use the theater department resources to make costumes, she meets with a friend and former Arkham Tower member Andre, who encourages her to go to the required meetings. Later, after breaking a lot of stuff with her power, she decides to go to the meeting anyway, but finds Andre dead, all by himself.
How do you feel about the return of David Lapham on art?
Oh. What has he done?
He did the some of the backups during the early part of Tamaki's story.
Yeah.
There's one thing that it was the Huntress, the Secret Files Huntress.
Ah.
And we were all like, wow, a lot of horror going on.
It's definitely not a pretty art. I mean, it's not bad. I don't know. I have no strong feelings one way or the other.
I remember despising David Lapham in the backups, a detective, and I'm not too crazy about this art either.
Yeah, I don't hate it, but it's definitely not exciting me, especially when you've got Ivan Reis doing the other stuff. You know, I mean, that's just an A-level artist, and then the backup is like,
Let me do it for you, Ian.
How does Sina Grace's voice and concept for Gotham Girl work for you after, I mean, she's basically only been used by Tom King and like as a supporting character in a couple other things.
I honestly don't remember too much about why she is this way.
Because her brother was killed and her brother killed
Yeah.
her parents in front of her and stuff. Oh, and then she was controlled by a psychopirate for Bane and...
Oh, yeah. I don't know. As a former teenage girl who struggled with crap, I relate and I can sort of understand-ish how she's feeling. So that part's fine. I don't know. I just wonder if this is a story that needed to be told. I don't know.
That's a good question.
It's not bad. If you're going to make me read something I didn't ask for, at least it's not bad.
So when we were discussing this, and I was telling you all how I had a hard time with it the first time around, I was going to give it an honest reread, and I did, and I feel slightly better. But I think what Ian just mentioned is probably my problem, in that the only voice that we've ever really had for Claire has been Tom King's voice. And, in that run, there were a lot of issues with Claire, and Tom did a pretty decent job when developing, that psychosis with her. And so now we have a new writer, who's bringing Claire back to the pages of the TBU, and I'm not sure how I feel about it yet, simply because, again, the only voice we've had since her creation has been that of Tom King. So I am going to withhold judgment until I read more.
I don't think it's bad, especially since I am not a big fan of Cena Grace's voice in general, but he's really dialed
Don't
it
either.
back.
I don't either. And again, the first time I read it, yeah, it was pretty bad. I was like, "What the hell am I reading?" And after speaking with you, and then after we spoke about it, more, I gave it again that second read, and I was like, okay. And as you mentioned today, that's probably my problem is that I've been used to her having this one voice all this time, and now we have a new person that's trying to do that voice in her own style.
Yeah, yeah. I do like the fact that they're doing things like Gotham Girl was in Arkham Tower, so like it's tied into Shadows of the Bat, and so it feels like things actually matter, and it takes place in this world that's trying to be consistent with itself. And I do think that Xena Grace is able to capture just how detached and upset and unhinged Gotham Girl is. I'm just not sure why they chose this story. Like, I'm not like mad, but I'm very puzzled. Do you think that this story is going to have a stronger connection to the Batman universe by the last issue? I assume it's going to be another 3-parter, but do you think it's going to have a stronger connection?
I mean, maybe. I guess it's trying to do Arkham, right?
Right.
I don't know, though. Because it sounds like she wants to have nothing to do with the Bat family, which is a little strange. It's like, you're going to prove you can do it on your own by ignoring your support system, which Batman doesn't even do. When he does, it's bad news. So, I don't know.
I don't have much of a clue of what's going to happen, and I don't think it add much of anything to the overall story. Is that what you were asking?
Well, basically, it's just, I don't know. I'm just very puzzled by why they chose to do this story, and
Well,
the story itself isn't bad, but it doesn't seem to justify why it's the extra dollar in the price tag.
Well, I made this in the last episode that backups don't seem worth it. It's just DC's way of getting that cash grab these days.
Well, sometimes
It's
they are, like when Tamaki was writing Huntress.
well, right, right, and that was my point that I made back then, and I still believe that now. When she did her backups during during the neighborhood, and Hugh Vowles, the parasite, they made sense. It built upon what we were getting in the main story. It flowed back one way or the other. Even when we got that one Hugh Vile backup that she didn't write, but we were all wondering what the hell it was for. It eventually came back to make a difference. But as of late, particularly since Shadows, backups have kind of become worthless because they don't come back. They have no lasting effect to the main story, and it just makes you wonder.
And they don't seem quite high enough quality to justify just a standalone story. Like, I would argue that the Gotham Academy backups were worthwhile, but like the current backups in Batman with the flashback to Deathstroke, like what's the point of that story? It doesn't seem like there is a point.
And even with Shadows, we thought we had a point to.
We're still very bitter about that.
Only to find, but yeah, this doesn't. I don't think this will add anything to it, especially once this arc is over. We don't hear anything from Claire anymore, and I don't. And this is Mr. Read all the solicits as soon as they come out. So we're in July now, and I don't see Claire anywhere in it. So I'm again, what are we here for?
Yeah, this, as much as I hate to say this, this feels like an urban legends type of story rather than a backup story.
Watch it connect in the most beautiful, amazing way, and you guys have to eat your words.
I will be glad to eat my words if they make it
I will
happen.
too.
I just don't think it will.
And I tell my employees this all the time. I have zero problems being told that I'm wrong or acknowledging that I am wrong. I am not the smartest man in the world, and if DC shows me up, I will broadcast that apology right here on this podcast. But history has proven that that's not going to happen.
All right, let's give Detective Comics a rating out of 5 gargoyle heads.
Well, then, started pre-rating them so that I can just look it up and not think about it. Oh, 3.5. Oh, I've given Robin a 4. Oh, well. 3.5 for Tech.
4. Wow, that's high.
Yeah, no, 3.5 was probably more fair.
I'm giving it a 3. There's still something about the backup story. And like I said, I need to understand the voice that Cena Grace is trying to give Claire. But again, not a fan of David Lapham, so that definitely knocks it down. God, just get rid of backup stories. It's not worth it anymore. It's really not. I will still pay my $3.99 whatever for Detective every month. Come on, DC, just end it all.
So you said 3.5, right?
3.
Oh, you said 3. Okay. I'm actually also going 3. I thought this was a very odd issue. There's a lot of good stuff in it, but it was very uneven for me. And I might retroactively think it was better depending on how the arcs end up. Both of these 2 stories have good finales, maybe. But right now it just feels too uncertain. So I'm giving it a 3. That gives us an overall score of 3.17 and a mode of 3. Let's move on to Greater Gotham. Starting out with Dark Knights of Steel, number 6.
Thumbs up!
Thumbs up. I can't believe Ian's still not enjoying this.
Oh, man.
I'm not enjoying it. I'm just abstaining.
It is a true Batman story.
It's so good.
Have they kept the same artist? Because I know they're having huge delays right now.
Yeah.
Okay.
I haven't seen a change in art.
Nightwing number 91.
Neutral, but like a good neutral.
So I'm giving it a thumbs up, but and this goes back to what I was saying about the stupid urban legends story with the birds of prey who are not birds. Who is Lady Shiva? Is she a good guy? Is she a bad guy? Is she an anti-hero? What is she? Why is she talking to Blockbuster all of a sudden? Can someone explain it to me? And still dealing with Katana and Ghost and Miracle Molly.
I think we have to ignore urban legends because nothing in there makes canonical sense.
Except that it's $8. Ugh.
We're told that it's canon.
Yes,
We're told
we are.
told that it's canon. So can someone explain to me how Shiva goes from being in The Outsiders, as that series came to a close, then forming the Birds of Prey, who aren't birds, with Katana, and now she's hanging out with Blockbuster. Still a thumbs up, but someone has to explain that to me.
I have to give it a thumbs down because making KG Beast so stupid was really frustrating. Like that, why am I supposed to be happy they beat him when he's a complete idiot? Batman the Night number 4 by Chip Zdarsky and Carmine Di Giandomenico.
Carmine Di Giandomenico.
Thumbs up, and I think I literally gasped when I finished. I was so distraught by the deception.
2 thumbs way up.
Mm-hmm.
I love this series. Ian said it before, and I follow him when I say this. I hope he integrates this series into his run.
Mm-hmm.
It will be so good.
Yeah, definitely a thumbs up. You might have to edit this out, Steph. Is this the issue where Ghostmaker shows up?
Is Anton Ghostmaker?
No, he's training Ananda Parbat. Is that next issue?
That's next issue.
Okay. Edit that out. But it's still really great.
This is the one where they're on the mountaintop and the sensei turns out to have nefarious deals in order to pay for his way of life.
No, that is with Ghostmaker.
So Anton, that's what I'm saying. Anton, the friend that leaves with him.
His name's Anton?
Yeah.
Oh, I guess that's a fake name, because Bruce is also using a fake name.
Yeah, Bruce is Jack.
Yeah, but I just love that. Like, this is good stuff. Like, James Tynion created Ghostmaker, and now the writers are integrating it in good stories. I think this is good. I like that.
Yeah, I didn't realize that was Ghostmaker. You just spoiled it for me.
What? Yeah, I could be wrong, but I'm pretty sure it's Ghostmaker. Because, like, if you look at the relationship between them, Anton has, like, this thing where he's like, I just want to be the best detective because it's harder. I want to be the best and, like, the beauty of the art. And that's, like, Ghostmaker's whole thing. And Bruce is like, no, justice.
Maybe we should hit him up on Twitter and see what he says.
I feel like he doesn't check his Twitter. Like, I think he just uses it to promote stuff. All right, Catwoman number 42.
Neutral.
Stay.
This book continues to be a thumbs down for me. Like, I can tell Teenie Howard is trying, but she is not succeeding in executing what she wants us to feel. At least for me. I'm just very frustrated by this book. And the art got worse, because they changed colorists, and it's just...
Is Onyx still around?
Who? Oh,
Onyx?
I think she might have been, like, in one panel, because, like, there's this thing where it might have been Onyx, but it wasn't very well explained. Like, Onyx was a breath of fresh air in the last issue, but, like, the whole issue as a complete thing was still crap. And
Tell us how you really feel.
I hate this title. Robin's number 6.
Thumbs up, but I might need to reread it because I don't think I understood what happened. The whole video game aspect of it just really was weird.
Yeah, it was set up in a lot of different pieces throughout so that there wasn't one place where they sat down and explained it. So you really kind of had to, like, really hold everything in your head. Like, I found this when I was reviewing it. I really had to think about how all the pieces connected, because Seeley was really trying to construct a very complicated structure where you not only had to think about how it connects to the past history of all the Robins, but also the past issues. Like, there's a bunch of small details that become very important in the future issues, and I think that's very good craftsmanship, but it does make for a much more intensive reading experience.
Mm-hmm.
It is a thumbs up for me, but I am happy that it's over, so now I can read it all at once.
Yeah, for sure. And I'm so happy that I have all the covers. Like, I only got 2 of the workout covers, but they are so pretty. Like, this... I love those workout covers. Well, okay.
I think the only one I got was the Damien one.
Oh, it's a good one. Carrie Randolph. But I love the last one because it's all 5 Robins working out together. I thought that was really sweet.
And less raunchy.
And a little less thirsty, yeah. The Damien one wasn't thirsty at all, which I appreciate since he is a minor. Catwoman, Lonely City, number 3. Now, I want some discussion here because I am confused.
I liked it. I feel
We
like...
have Catwoman just randomly sleeping with Riddler.
I think that made sense. Like, they're from the same old world. She doesn't have a lot of friends left. Like, I feel like Selena being a sexual person in general, that's just part of her comfort. Like, I also like, there's this fan fiction I enjoy reading where Selena and Eddie are actually very good friends. And so this kind of, I don't know, I didn't mind it. I was not upset by it.
And considering Tom King was giving hints in several issues of Batcat that there was more going on between Selena and Joker than what one would ever want to imagine.
That was messed up.
Hell, there was one issue where she was talking to Helena, and I just knew she was going to come out and say, Bruce isn't your dad. And so I didn't have a problem with it either.
I didn't like it. I didn't feel like they really developed the characters in a place where I bought the relationship.
I don't think it's much of a relationship. I think it's just comfort after Waylon died.
Yeah, I just don't like it.
No, whatever.
And it just feels like this feels like a kitchen sink. It doesn't feel like it's building to anything. It's just like, big thing happens, small thing, big thing happens. It doesn't
The
feel
end?
like a through line.
I will say the part I didn't like was the end, where Jason Blood dies just so that Selena doesn't have to get her flashlight out. Like, that didn't make sense to me.
It was
That was weird.
rough. I didn't like that either.
Did we do thumbs up and everything?
Yeah, we need some ratings.
Oh, yeah. I said thumbs up, but I understand and respect your whatever rating.
Is there actually a whatever rating I can start using?
I thought that was neutral.
Whatever.
Okay. It's thumbs up for me also.
I'm giving it
It was
neutral because even though the writing is frustrating me, the art continues to be amazing.
Mm-hmm.
The art is beautiful.
Yeah, for sure. Justice League number 75, The Death of the Justice League. We're only reading this because it's supposed to be important.
Thumbs down. Like, I didn't understand. First of all, consent is important. You can't just take the entire world universe's heroes to one point and hope that things work out. I don't know. That was dumb. And then they defeated the bad guy, no problem, except that the bad guy's army was nothing compared to his super death beam, which I don't know why he wouldn't have just used that in the first place. And then he just wiped everyone out. And that was the end. I was like, I don't understand what just happened. I don't know who killed everyone. It was... And because it's basically an entire movie, plot, story, whatever, in one comic, they just rammed all the explanation and yeah, it was weird.
And correct me if I'm wrong, he's not the regular writer on Justice League. He just wrote this issue, right?
Mm-hmm.
I mean, this is basically just Dark Crisis Prologue number 1,052,052.
Yeah, I will quote Ian from last episode. 2 thumbs, 2 toes, just down. Rewind the cast and just listen to my criticisms of Joshua Williamson and all the stuff he's doing right now, and you'll see why I did not like this story. It's not good.
Yeah, thumbs down. It just feels like a bunch of fighting and arbitrary... Well, they're all dead now. It doesn't feel like there's a reason that they're dead.
Yeah.
So...
There was no tension and sacrifice. It was just like, yay, we won. Oh, oops, we lost.
Yeah, exactly.
And the only one to survive is Black Adam. Yay.
Because he gets an ongoing, which I'm very excited about, but that has nothing to do with Batman.
Yeah, and he has a movie, so yeah, we can't kill the guy who got a movie coming out.
Batman has a movie. Why are we killing him?
Wait, who has a movie coming out?
Batman. Well, I mean, he already came out. But...
Already out, so yeah, he can die.
Oh, is that how that works?
Yeah, he can die for a while. It's on HBO Max now.
True. Batman Beyond the White Knight number 2.
Oh, thumbs up. I liked it so much better than the first one.
It was so good. Thumbs up. Thumbs up.
And I like that last time we actually discussed it's kind of weird that it's still called the White Knight universe when the White Knight is dead, and then they brought him
he's not.
I love Jack. Interaction between Jack and Bruce was just so awesome.
It was great.
Like,
I also really want to know what happens when he tells Harley that he's got Jack in his head.
I know, right? Or is he going to tell her?
He better. But I think that this was, again, an improvement. All of the things I get frustrated about in the White Knight universe are still here. Like, I do not like how Murphy handles Dick and Barbara. It's too stiff and plot dictated rather than character dictated. But again, his Harley, Joker, and Bruce stuff is the real heart and the key of the series. Mm-hmm. And so that taking a center stage makes it a really strong issue. And of course, the art is always great.
Yeah, and I have hope for Terry. I think Terry could possibly be good, although right now he's just on trajectory for being literally Terry McGinnis from Batman Beyond.
And but just that interaction between Bruce and Jack, he's like, shut up, and you won't even feel me grab you when we're on the motorcycle together. That was just such a fun interaction between those two. Stop calling me bats, which makes me feel that there's a touch of the Joker still there.
Yeah, it really does. Yeah,
because that's the Joker's name for Batman. So that really tells me that by the time this is all said and done, not only will Jack be in his head, but
Joker might be.
Might be.
This will be pretty interesting.
But very, very fun. I really enjoyed it.
Harley Quinn number 14.
Thumbs up. And it's getting a little more serious.
Yeah.
It's not just the zany fun.
Explain for the non-Harley reader.
So she's in prison. She's been framed for mass murder. I don't remember what it is.
Yeah, basically.
And her friend and comrade, Kevin?
Yep.
Kevin. His girlfriend seems to have anti-Harley opinions and tendencies.
I think the girlfriend is the murderer, honestly.
Probably. Which would just be sad, but...
Yeah. That'll real set Kevin back.
Oh, I was a little weirded out by the fact that Batwoman broke her out of prison. I feel like there should be... I don't know. That was weird, but...
Isn't it kind of a retread of the whole Selena killed, did the mass murder thing? Is it along those same
they've
lines?
done this type of plot line a lot.
Yeah.
I mean...
It's not the same, but, I mean, you could make that parallel.
I think it's also a thumbs up. It's not like enthusiastic because I think Riley Rossmo is kind of rushed in this issue. There's some stuff during the Kevin sequence that feels really, it doesn't feel as zany as he usually gets, so it's weird. But it's still an enjoyable comic. The Joker, number 14.
Neutral.
The not ending of the series.
Oh, I can't. Neutral. I'm done with this book. It's so...
Oh, come on. Just one more issue, Steph.
No, I'll keep reading it, but... it's so cannibal heavy. It's hard to get through.
Compared to last issue, this was a walk in the park. Last issue
truly,
was so bad that I was really struggling with it. This one I
think I gave that
great.
one a thumbs down, though.
I can't remember.
I think you did. I don't remember if I gave it a neutral or not. I really did struggle with it because it was basically just cannibalism, the comic. But this one there was a lot more of Jim and Bats and Barbara, the stuff I actually read the comic for.
Yeah, I did read it. I'm gonna give it a neutral. It was okay, but yeah, the whole and Theo's dropping stuff all over the place. So the mic and keyboard are in different areas of the room. No, it's a neutral for me. Again, I haven't been following Joker, but I try to pick up on penultimate issues just to see how things are gonna end. Since this was supposed to be the last, but not last, issue of the series.
This one was definitely a thumbs up for me. I love the way that Tynan brings Jim back to Gotham after so much has changed, and he references things like Shadows of the Bat, so it feels like it's still taking place in Gotham. And I just love his voice for Jim and the way he does all the relationships. Still one of my favorite, if not my absolute favorite title on the shelves. And I will miss it, but I do like that it seems to have come to a natural conclusion.
Sorry to interrupt, Master Booth. Ringing your phone now. This needs my attention.
We just have one short bit of feedback.
Borvok said, I still don't like Robin's new suit. Give me the green back. But the art is nice. Talking about the Dan Mora cover.
I really love the new gray suit for Robin. I think because it's gray, it really speaks to his background a lot more than green does.
I appreciate it just because if you're gonna stick with having two people called Robin, you need to at least make them look different.
I am not a fan of the gray. If you're gonna have someone in a different costume, let it be Tim Drake. Put him in this Drake costume and call it a day.
That brown thing was horrible.
I don't. Damian Wayne is the one and true Robin. He should be dressed as such.
But doesn't him having his own unique costume make him more, unique and distinctive?
I'm not a fan of the gray. I'm not a fan a fan of the mini cape. It's just not my vibe.
This is so interesting.
No,
because I love it. I really love this costume. I'm just surprised. I guess I shouldn't be surprised because I have weird tastes, but I love what they're going for. I love what it looks like, and I love the fact that I'm just like, that's Damien now when I see it. Sometimes I'm like, oh, is it Damien or Tim? But now I'm like, that's absolutely Damien.
Yeah, put Drake back in this Drake suit.
We'll see what happens in Zdarsky's
all
run.
Tim Drake fans might be upset, but this Damian Wayne fan doesn't care.
All right. That brings us to the end of Greater Gotham. And listener feedback, I am going to read our Patreon support. Again, we have all kinds of affiliate links for things like Amazon and Lego and Books A Million and just all kinds of nerdy stores that you can buy all kinds of Batman merch from, and it gives a little bit. There's no extra charge for you, the consumer, but the websites will give the Batman universe a little bit of extra money. That'll help us keep our servers up.
And folks, don't limit it to Batman stuff. You can buy other stuff too.
That's also true. If you are a regular supporter on Patreon for a certain amount, you get read as a part of our Bat Fan Appreciation Wall on every podcast. So, here we go. Thank you to Lisa Slack, Ian Miller, Gerald Green, Joshua Lappin-Bertoni, Rob O., Tim Garassi, Robert Lewis, Stephanie Mounts, Donovan Morgan Grant, Stanton's Grave, Donald Townsend, Ed Grouse, Captain America, Mary Garrett, Austin Davis, Johnny McCloskey, Cesar Diaz, Jessica Morales, and David Richards. You all really help us keep the show on the air in terms of just our archives, which I think is great for people who are interested in the history of Batman and fan reaction. And, you help us to keep going every 2 weeks. So, that brings us to the end of the episode. Tune in next time for more Batman reviews and Greater Gotham.
Got more Shadow War.
Yes.
Oh, Shadow War.
Until then, I've been Ian.
This is Steph.
And this is Theo.
And you've been listening to the Batman Universe Comic Podcast. Thanks for listening, and we'll see you next time.